Hello YouTube, it is the night of the 15th. This is Jared and I am halfway done with my Kharadron Army in a Month challenge. I started this month with a stack of sprues and boxes and I am now halfway to building my army, and this is the check-in video to see what progress I've made and what still needs to be done. So, first things first, everything is built. Everything is primed, and everything has been dry brushed in white. And so everything from the crew for the vehicles to the individual soldiers has been at least primed and at least dry brushed white, which makes it easier to pick out the details. And of course, as I've mentioned in previous videos, by dry brushing in white, I can find stuff that wasn't actually glued that I thought was glued. And so I've been able to re-glue a few things that were not as secure as I thought they were. And so I am very happy that that is done. And then, as you can see, I have finished painting the full 10-man squad of the Arcanaut Company. All of these guys are officially done now. And I have 3 of the Warband done. And then I've done just a tiny bit of paint on a few other minis as I was using up a little bit more paint on my palette so I don't waste paint. But officially, I have 13 minis painted for the challenge, and the rest of it's still to go. So 13 minis down, I got the big squad done, but now I have to do the rest of it. And you'll see here in the back, I have none of the bases done. And so for all of these little bases, I'm going to be gluing a magnet to the back. And I got some magnets right here. I'll be gluing a magnet on them so that they'll fit in the carry case. And then I will be constructing a base on them. And I'm going to go with a mountain theme. And then I'm going to be testing out a product called Snow Tech and seeing if I can't make a snowy mountain theme. And so I want to try to mix it up a little bit and do that. And then I'll have to do some smaller bases for these little guys. And then, of course, there are the 2 bigger bases. And that gives me room to really flex my creative muscles and see what I can do to cover up these giant little plates here and get some really cool mountain bases. So I'm going to build up a little mountain scene, mount the flight stand in the middle, and then mount the vehicle on top of the flight stand. So that's the plan right now. The real question is, I have 2 weeks left. And so what order do I want to do things? Do I want to focus on painting all the little individuals? There's still 6 guys with engines on their back over here. We've got, goodness knows, at least 6 heroes, plus the Aether Chemist from the Warband and his bodyguard. I have 2 vehicles and their crews to go. And then I have our heavy weapons team as well. So it gives me lots of options in terms of what do I want to paint next. And especially since I was able to get 6 guys done today to finish this squad, I'm feeling pretty optimistic about painting the soldiers. But I'm not 100% sure on painting the vehicles yet, because I can see this thing taking a week to paint. So I think what I'm going to do, since there's 2 weeks left and then a weekend, is focus this week on getting as many of the squads done. So maybe get the engines done, get some of the commanders done, get the heavy weapons team done. If I can keep knocking out 2 or 3 guys a day, then by the end of the week, I've got just about this entire squad completely finished. So if I can get most of the soldiers done, if I can get most of the commanders done, if I can get some of the crew even done, then that would leave next week to really focus on painting the vessels. And so I think that's going to be the game plan, is keep going on the soldiers because I've got that rhythm down, I've got my paints down, I've got a process down, and I'm able to knock these guys out fairly quickly. So I'm really happy with that. And they're looking good. And so the plan is, I think, focus on the little guys for a little bit longer, get the crews done at the very least, and then just kind of keep mixing things up. And then sometime during the week when I get sick, I've found that if you paint the same thing for too long, you get bored and demotivated. And even with the YouTube, even with the challenge, I might get demotivated. And so what I want to do is paint guys until I'm sick of painting guys, and then take a day off and start building those bases. And so that will be the go-to, I think, is see if I can get 6, 10, 11, 15 more guys done, take a day off, build bases, don't paint anything, just do bases for a day or so, just to give my head a refresh, and then come back, finish the guys. And the next week will be really focus on my 2 vessels. And I want to paint them in sections. And so spend some time and paint the bases, and then paint the weapons, and then paint the details, and then paint the engines, and kind of move around on the vehicles and really be intentional. One of the things that I learned a long time ago, and I wish I knew who taught me this, is when you're painting stuff that's complex, whether it's a small mini like this who has way too many arms, or you're painting a big ship like this that has so many little tiny details, one of the most important things you can do is start from the inside and work out. And so it's always easier to paint inside details when you don't have to worry about messing something else up. So start on the inside and then work your way outside. So then the last thing you're painting is the bottom of the ship, the little cannons, the rudders. But start on the inside, work your way outside. So that's the plan of attack to get these guys done. Start on the inside, work my way out. And so I'll be tackling that, I think, next week. Goal right now, like I said, little guys, and then we're going to move to bases, finish the crew, then we paint the vehicles. And by then, hopefully, I'm on that final last couple days. If I can shoot for a week from Saturday, that will mean that I have an extra day or so to do something else. Whether I want to go back and do some extra edge highlighting, or go back and repaint something that I wasn't happy with, or add some embellishments to the base, or just whatever comes up. So I want to try to always shoot for having that extra day. And it also means that if I get sick, if I get busy with work, if I get a day behind, I always find the best way to do a challenge is give yourself 2 days off, to finish 2 days early, so that if something happens, you have those 2 days to kind of make up, and then you're not scrambling, or I'm not painting stuff frantically to finish the challenge and then not doing the job that I want to do. So that's going to be my go-to. One other thing, though, that occurred to me while I was thinking about my paint scheme. As much as I love this paint scheme for the soldiers, for the Kharadrons, for the vehicles, I was originally thinking keeping it really clean in silvers with a few smaller details. But then I remembered something that I painted, it's going to be almost 2 years ago now, when I had the Dominion box. When I was finishing my Stormcast, I was so tired of painting gold guys that I took my Annihilators and I painted them different. And I want to show you. So check out these Annihilators. These were painted back when I was early in painting, so there's a little bit of mistakes on them. But one of the happy little accidents, I'm still not been happy with the shield, but one of the happy little accident I discovered was this blue metallic that I came up with. This paint scheme really pops, and I actually really like it. And so, especially for the details, for the way it pops, and this is back when I put too much Nuln Oil in everything, so it's still got kind of that grimy Nuln Oil look because everything got bathed in Nuln Oil for the first couple months of painting. But one of the first boxes, the box that got me into Age of Sigmar, was the Dominion box. I picked it up really cheap, but really loved the way this particular metallic blue looks. And so I've always liked this squad of Annihilators with their shields. Just came out. So I'm really actually happy with these guys in terms of this color. And how I got this color was that Vallejo blue that I really liked, that blue-green that I talked about in my previous paint scheme video. This blue plus this Deco Art Extreme Sheen Metallic. This by itself is streaky. You need like multiple coats to get coverage. These cheaper Deco Art paints just don't do well. I mean, it's a cheaper paint. It's what's in a big tube like this. This is for painting your house pottery plants or whatever. I don't know. But to use it with minis, what I found is you get a base color that's very similar like this. It's going to go on 1 or 2 coats, not streaky at all, good coverage, and then just a very light coat of this will turn this into the metallic version. And they're close enough, this basically just becomes a metallic this. So these together make a nice metallic. And it gave a nice color, but then what really makes this sing is you take your silver, and for me, I've upgraded since using it to the Stormhost Silver. So you take your silver and you just do a little bit of a dry brush over it and pick it out. And so it occurs to me why I originally didn't want to do another color. That paint scheme on this, if I put this bluish color on these things, it could look really, really, really good. Because I've wanted to go back and use this paint scheme for something eventually for years now. But I've never found the right thing. This actually might be the right thing for that paint scheme. And so I've been bouncing around. Do I want to keep this mostly silver with all of the little doodads and accents? Because it's going to have some gold accents because you got these things. You're going to have some metallics for the vents. I mean, it's a busy piece, let's be real. This is a pretty busy engine. But it might be fun to have that light blue metallic as a stripe or as a detail on here. So maybe on this bow piece, I could put that stripe. The problem is if I do that stripe, it's going to contradict my achromatic blue, which is on some of the minis already in terms of an accent. So if I use this as an accent, but then this is a base, you can't have your base and accent the same color. So it will fit in the scheme, but then it will contradict one of my accents. And so what will happen if I do that? It will mean I cannot use achromatic blue on, say, the weapon. So if there's a stripe here and then the blue's here or here, it's going to look muddy. It's going to be a contrast next to the same color, which it won't be a contrast anymore. And so what I would need to do is pull in some of my other contrasts that I've used on their lights and use these as my contrast colors on the vehicle. So these contrasts against this color base, you can see right here, that really pops. That is a very, 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 very dynamic and a very colorful one. So I'm not trying to go full Gloomspite Gitz. My Gitz army is my colorful army. I have a Loon Shrine that is very colorful. Maybe I'll show that off one of these videos. But I could see, get my metallic hill, I could see this being kind of a fun color scheme and still in that Star Trek homage kind of vibe, especially since I'm going to be putting some, the soldiers on it, or the crew will be in the blue since they're taking care of the vehicle. And so this will kind of be the color scheme, though ironically, mostly this color and then these colors. And then, of course, my other metallics. And so sometimes you can use the bottom of the bottles like this. Just hold it up and look at it and say, how do I like this as my color scheme? And I think I like it, because the alternative is, if I take this one out, it looks more like this. And it just needs something, you know? I feel like it needs something. And just having this color, you know, ignoring everything else, just that right there, that color right there, I could see that looking really, really cool, just as an accent color to pop the vehicle out. I think I'm going to sleep on that one. I got a week. If I paint the soldiers first, I've got a week to work that into the color scheme. And I think it might work. I think that might be something to make it a little bit more interesting without going overboard. And it's still a metallic, because I'll have the metallic wash on it. So it won't be that flat paint that I really don't like. I've seen people do it where it's just a flat color, and the flat color looks wrong. But I think if I do it as a metallic, and I think if I dry brush with the silver to really kind of pop the rivets out or whatever, wherever that paint winds up going, I think it could look good. I think it could look good. So I'm going to be sleeping on that, but that's currently where this stands. This is the official halfway point. 13 minis done. No bases done yet, but everybody's painted and dry brushed and ready to go, and I'll be working through the crew the next couple days. So the next few videos, there'll be one of them on the basing, and then the other videos I'm planning on making are going to be focused on individual squads, as I'm also trying to learn the rules and how does this army actually play. So that's the goal, that's the plan. Thank you for sticking with me. I've gotten a few subscribers recently, so that's been really fun to have my first couple subscribers. So shout out to anybody who's subscribed to this video. If you haven't subscribed and you happen to be watching, it really does make me smile when I see people enjoying my videos. So thank you all for watching. Thank you for subscribing or interacting with the video. Have a great day.